The crystal walls of the Zephrian council chamber shook as another explosion rocked their floating city. Ambassador Veltar stood before the great communication array, his transparent blue hands trembling as he prepared to do something his people had never done before: ask strangers for help. The Zephrians had lived in peace for over 3,000 years. Their world was a paradise of gentle winds and floating cities that danced among the clouds. They knew nothing of war, nothing of violence. Their greatest conflicts were debates about art and philosophy that lasted for decades, but never involved raised voices. Now death was coming to their world, and they had no idea how to stop it. The enemy called themselves the Kronach swarm. They had appeared at the edge of Zephrian space 6 months ago, merging from the dark regions between galaxies like a plague made of metal and flesh. Their ships were not built, but grown. Living creatures the size of mountains that fed on entire worlds. Veltar had watched reports from their outer colonies with growing horror. The Kronach did not conquer worlds, they consumed them. Living thing, every drop of water, every grain of soil, was absorbed into their massive bioships. When they were finished, nothing remained but empty space and floating rocks. 12 civilizations had already fallen. The peaceful Altarians, gone. In 3 days, the scholarly Keth vanished without even time to send a final message. The artistic Velans, whose beautiful crystal sculptures had decorated worlds across the galaxy, now existed only in memory. The Zephrians were next. Send the message, Veltar whispered to his aide, a young female named Shia, whose wings had lost their natural glow from fear. Send it to every world, every species, every ship in known space. The transmission began with the formal protocols required by galactic law, but quickly dissolved into desperate pleading. Veltar's voice cracked as he spoke of his dying people, of children who would never see another sunset, of a culture that would be erased from existence. We offer everything we have, he said, his words echoing through the chamber. Our knowledge, our art, our cities, our very lives. Please, if there is anyone out there who can help us, we beg you to come. We are dying, and we do not know how to fight. The message traveled through space at the speed of light, carried by quantum relays and hyperspace beacons to every corner of the galaxy. Most who received it felt sympathy but could offer nothing. The galactic military forces were already stretched thin, dealing with smaller Kronach raids. No single species had the power to stand against the full swarm, but in a small research vessel, drifting near the edge of human space, someone was listening. Captain Jake Morrison had been watching the stars for 7 years. His ship, the New Horizons, was officially listed as a deep space research vessel studying solar wind patterns. The truth was far more interesting. Jake and his crew were part of humanity's greatest secret. Earth had discovered faster than light. Traveled 23 years ago. Within 5 years, human ships were quietly exploring nearby star systems, always careful to avoid detection. They found the galaxy was full of life, but most of it was nothing like humanity had expected. The aliens were peaceful, almost impossibly so. They had wars, but they were careful, limited affairs with rules and ceremonies. They had weapons, but they were designed to disable rather than destroy. The concept of total warfare, of fighting to the death for survival, was alien to them in ways they could not understand. Humanity had decided to remain hidden. Earth's governments agreed that revealing their existence too early could cause panic among the gentle alien races. It's better to watch and learn for a few more decades before making contact. Jake had been part of the observation program since its beginning. His crew of 12 humans had spent years documenting alien cultures, learning their languages, and reporting back to Earth. They had watched civilizations rise and fall, seen wonders that defied imagination, and slowly realized that humanity might be unique in the galaxy. Humans were violent, not by choice, but by evolution. Earth was what the aliens would classify as a Class 12 death world, a planet so dangerous that most species considered it uninhabitable. Everything on Earth was designed to kill everything else. The weather could destroy cities. The animals were living weapons, and even the plants were often poisonous. Humans had evolved in this nightmare. It had made them into something the galaxy had never seen before. They were survivors, fighters, warriors by nature. What other species considered impossible, humans called Tuesday. Lieutenant Amy Patterson was monitoring communications when the Zephrian message arrived. She was a small woman with bright red hair and the kind of smile that could light up a room, but Jake had seen her take apart alien technology with the patience of a surgeon and the precision of a computer. "Captain," she called from her station, "you need to hear this." Jake floated over in the zero gravity of the ship's observation deck. Amy had learned to read several alien languages during their mission, and her face was pale as she translated. "The incoming signal. It's a distress call," she said. "Multiple species, all asking for help against something called the Kronach swarm." Dr. Ben Rodriguez pushed off from his research station and drifted over to join them. Ben was the ship's expert on alien biology, a quiet man with dark eyes who could identify any species in the known galaxy from a single cell sample. He was also one of the few people who truly understood how different humans were from their galactic neighbors. "Kronach," Ben said, his voice thoughtful. "I've heard of them. The Outer Rim colonies have been reporting attacks for months." They're supposed to be some kind of biomechanical species that consumes worlds." Amy played the Zephrian message, and the three humans listened in silence as Ambassador Veltar pleaded for salvation. His voice carried across the void, full of desperation and fear, begging anyone who would listen to save his people from extinction. "How many ships do they have?" Jake asked. Amy checked the tactical data streaming with the message. "According to this, the main swarm has over 2,000 bioships, each one the size of a city. They've already consumed 12 worlds in the past 6 months." Ben whistled softly. "No wonder the galactic forces can't stop them. Most alien species consider 100 ships to be a massive fleet." Jake stared out the observation window at the stars, his mind racing. The Zephrians were going to die. Their entire species would be wiped out in a matter of weeks, maybe days. The galactic community was too weak, too peaceful to fight an enemy like the Kronach, but humanity was not weak. And humanity was definitely not peaceful. "Amy," he said quietly, "send a message to Earth, priority Alpha clearance. Tell them we have a situation." Amy's fingers flew over her console, encoding the message with quantum encryption that would make it impossible for alien forces to intercept. The transmission would reach Earth in 6 hours, travel through the secret relay network to Luna Base, and land on the desk of people who made decisions that could change the galaxy. Ben was already pulling up files on the Kronach, studying their attack patterns and biology. "Jake," he said, "if we do anything to help, we'll blow our cover." 20 years of secret observation, gone. Jake nodded. He understood the implications. Revealing humanity's existence before they were ready could cause panic among the alien races. It could lead to war, to chaos, to the destruction of everything Earth had worked to build. But as he listened to Ambassador Veltar's voice, growing weaker with each repeated message, as he thought of an entire civilization about to be erased from existence, Jake knew there was really no choice at all. Sometimes legends had to step out of the shadows, even if the galaxy wasn't ready for them. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center of Luna Base, watching the Earth rise over the lunar horizon through the massive observation windows. The hidden facility had been humanity's best-kept secret for over 2 decades, buried deep beneath the moon's surface where alien sensors could never detect it. The message from Captain Morrison had arrived 6 hours ago, and Lisa had been in emergency meetings ever since. The Shadow Fleet command staff sat around a holographic table displaying the Kronach advance in real time. Red markers showed consumed worlds, while yellow ones marked planets currently under attack. The pattern was clear and terrifying, Commander. Ryan Walsh pulled up tactical displays showing the enemy's bioships. Each vessel was a living creature the size of a small city, covered in organic armor and bristling with weapons that seemed to grow from their flesh. The aliens had never seen anything like them before. "The Galactic Defense Forces are completely outmatched," Ryan said, his voice grim. "These Kronach ships regenerate damage faster than conventional weapons can inflict it. They're not just ships. They're predators evolved for space warfare." Colonel Nina Brooks leaned forward, studying the enemy formations. Nina had spent 15 years training human soldiers for combat in alien environments. Her Deathworld training course prepared warriors for the day when humanity would need to fight among the stars. That day had apparently arrived. "Look at their movement patterns," Nina said, pointing to the hologram. "They're hunting pack tactics, but scaled up to planetary warfare. They isolate systems, cut off escape routes, then consume everything systematically." General Sam Hunter, the oldest member of the command staff, had been with the Shadow Fleet since its founding. His weathered face showed the strain of keeping humanity's greatest secret while watching the galaxy burn around them. "The question is not whether we can stop them," Sam said quietly. "The question is whether we should reveal ourselves to do it." Director Kate Nelson represented the Civilian Oversight Committee, the group of Earth's leaders who made policy for humanity's hidden space program. She was a small woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. Her job was to think about consequences that military minds might overlook. "If we intervene," Kate said, "we change everything." 23 years of careful observation gone. Our plans for gradual contact with alien civilizations destroyed. We become players in galactic politics whether we want to or not. Lisa had been listening to the debate for hours, but her mind was already made up. She had joined the Shadow Fleet to protect humanity from alien threats. But she had learned something important during her years of watching the galaxy. Sometimes protecting humanity meant protecting everyone else too. The Zephrian system. She ordered the hologram shifted to display Zephria Prime, a beautiful blue and white world surrounded by artificial cities that floated in the upper atmosphere like jewels. The planet had no natural defenses, no military installations, no weapons of any kind. It was a world of artists and philosophers who had never needed to learn about war. The Kronach fleet was 3 days away. "How many people live there?" Lisa asked. Amy's voice came through the communication system as the New Horizons relayed information from alien data networks. "Approximately 4 billion Zephrians, Admiral. All civilians. Their entire military consists of 12 patrol craft. Designed for asteroid mining." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. 4 billion innocent lives, about to be extinguished because they had never learned to fight. It was a tragedy that would echo through galactic history, another peaceful civilization, erased by predators who knew only consumption. "What assets do we have in the region?" she asked. Commander Alex Thompson appeared on the main screen, transmitting from the bridge of his stealth cruiser Ghostwalker. Alex had been Lisa's protege for 8 years, a brilliant tactical officer, who understood both human warfare and alien psychology better than anyone else in the fleet. "Battle Group 7 is conducting reconnaissance in the Outer Rim," Alex reported. 12 ships, including my cruiser, 4 destroyers, 2 assault carriers, and support vessels. We're currently running silent about 4 light-years from the Zephrian system. Ryan Walsh highlighted the human ships on the tactical display. They were invisible to alien sensors using technology that the galaxy's peaceful races had never needed to develop. Stealth systems, electronic warfare capabilities, and weapons designed by a species that had spent millions of years learning to kill efficiently. "The Kronach won't see us coming," Ryan said. "Their bioships have excellent organic sensors, but they're tuned for detecting conventional alien technology. Our stealth signatures are based on principles they've probably never encountered." Colonel Brooks was already planning the ground assault. "If we can get teams aboard their bioships, we can study their internal structure. These creatures have to have vulnerable points, some way to disable them without destroying entire vessels." "Major Tracy Lee's assault teams are ready for deployment," Nina continued. 60 of our best soldiers trained for zero-gravity combat. In hostile environments, if anyone can figure out how to kill these things up close, it's them." General Hunter raised the question that everyone was thinking. "What's our cover story? We can't just appear out of nowhere, save the day, and disappear. The aliens will ask questions we're not ready to answer." Director Nelson had been quiet during the tactical discussion, but now she spoke up with the political insight that made her valuable to the team. "We use their own legends against them," she said. "Every galactic culture has stories about mysterious defenders from the dark regions of space. We become those stories." Lisa understood immediately. "We don't reveal ourselves as humans from Earth. We let them think we're something else, something mythical. The galaxy already has legends about Deathworlders, Kate continued. Species. From planets so dangerous that they create natural warriors. Most aliens think it's just a myth, but we can use that. We become the mysterious protectors who emerge from the shadows to fight impossible battles. Alex Thompson's image on the screen showed his excitement at the tactical possibilities. My crew has been studying alien psychology for years. Most galactic species are so peaceful that they can't imagine real warfare. If we hit the Kronach with everything we have and then vanish, they'll assume we're some kind of legendary force that only appears in times of great need. The plan was audacious and dangerous. Humanity would reveal its military capabilities to the galaxy while hiding its true identity. They would save the Zephrians using tactics and technology that no known species possessed, then disappear back into the shadows before anyone could track them down. What about long-term consequences? Ryan asked. Once we do this, we can't go back to pure observation. We'll be part of galactic affairs, whether we want to be or not. Lisa looked around the table at her senior staff. These were the people who had spent decades preparing for humanity's emergence into galactic civilization. They had planned for diplomatic contact, for trade negotiations, for cultural exchange. None of them had expected their first major interaction to be a military intervention against an extinction-level threat. But sometimes history forced choices that no one wanted to make. Operation Shadowstrike is approved, Lisa announced. Alex, take Battle Group 7 to the Zephrian system. Your mission is to stop the Kronach advance using any means necessary, but maintain operational secrecy. As far as the galaxy knows, you don't exist. Alex saluted from the screen. Understood, Admiral. We'll save them and let them think it was a miracle. As the command staff dispersed to prepare for humanity's first military action in galactic space, Lisa remained at the observation window, watching Earth turn slowly in the void. In 3 days, humanity would either emerge as the galaxy's secret protectors or reveal themselves as another aggressive species seeking power among the stars. The choice they made would determine not just the fate of the Zephrians, but the future of every peaceful civilization in known space. The Shadow Fleet was about to step into the light. The Kronach bioships hung in space around Zephria Prime, like hungry predators circling wounded prey. 2,000 living vessels, each one a nightmare of organic metal and flesh. Pulsing with alien life as they prepared to devour another world, Commander Alex Thompson watched them through the Ghostwalker's sensor array, his human eyes seeing details that alien technology would have missed. The bioships were beautiful in a terrifying way, their hulls rippling with muscle-like structures and neural networks that glowed with bioluminescent patterns. They're not just ships, whispered Captain Dan Wright from his fighter squadrons. Position. They're actually alive. Look at how they move, how they communicate with each other. Major Tracy Lee studied the tactical display from her assault transport. 60 human soldiers waited in the cargo bay behind her, each one trained for combat in hostile environments that would kill most alien species. They had practiced boarding actions in zero gravity, fighting in poisonous atmospheres, and surviving in conditions that galactic civilization considered impossible. I count 47 boarding tubes attached to Zephrian stations, Tracy reported. The Kronach are already inside their orbital habitats, probably consuming everything they find. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Stone monitored enemy communications from her electronic warfare station. The Kronach used bioelectric signals to coordinate their attacks, organic networks that pulsed with living data. It was like listening to the nervous system of a creature the size of a solar system. Their command structure is distributed, Rachel said. No single ship controls the others. They operate like a hive mind, with decision-making shared across the entire swarm. Alex nodded, understanding the implications. Human military tactics were based on disrupting enemy command and control, but these creatures had no central command. To disrupt, it would have to be defeated one ship at a time, or find some other weakness to exploit. The Zephrian defense fleet hung helplessly near their homeworld. 12 small craft that looked like toys compared to the massive bioships surrounding them. Their weapons were mining lasers designed to cut asteroids, completely useless against organic armor that could regenerate faster than they could damage it. Ambassador. Veltar broadcast another desperate plea from the planet's surface, his voice growing weaker as Kronach forces consumed the orbital installations that provided power to his people's floating cities. The Zephrians were dying, and they didn't even understand how their enemies worked. All units, this is Ghost Leader, Alex announced on the secure channel. Begin Operation Shadow Strike. Remember, we don't exist. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and don't let them see us coming. The human ships activated their attack systems in perfect silence. No alien sensor could detect the energy signatures of railguns charging, missile tubes opening, or fighter craft launching from hidden bays. To the Kronach swarm, space around them remained empty and safe. The first Kronach bioship to die never knew what killed it. A railgun projectile moving at 30% of light speed struck its central nervous cluster. The tungsten slug passing completely through the creature's body before the organic computers could even register the impact. The massive bioship convulsed once and went dark, its bioluminescent patterns fading as neural death spread through its hull. Direct hit on target Alpha 1, reported Lieutenant Kevin Hayes from the destroyer Nightfall. No response from enemy forces. They don't even know we're here. The second and third kills came within seconds, human weapons striking from impossible angles with precision that defied alien understanding of warfare. The Kronach bioships began to react, their organic sensors sweeping space frantically. But, finding nothing, Captain Wright led his fighter squadron in a strafing run against a cluster of smaller bioships. Human pilots pulled maneuvers that would have killed any other known species, their bodies adapted to high acceleration and violent direction changes. The small craft danced through space like deadly insects, their weapons tearing through organic armor with surgical precision. This is insane. Wright laughed over the cum channel as his fighter rolled through a turn that generated 12 Gs of force. These things are fast, but they fly like they're swimming through water. Major Lee's assault teams had reached there. First target, a massive bioship that was in the process of consuming a Zephrian mining station. The human soldiers cut through the creature's hull using plasma torches, creating entry points that sealed themselves behind them as the bioship tried to heal the wounds inside the alien vessel. Tracy led her teams through corridors that pulsed. With organic life, the walls were covered with neural networks that flickered with bioluminescent signals, and the air was thick with spores that would have been toxic to most galactic species. The humans barely noticed. Contact Front called Sergeant Tony Clark as they encountered their first Kronach warriors. The silicon-based creatures were 7 feet tall and covered in natural armor. But they moved with the slow, deliberate motions of beings evolved in low-gravity environments, human reflexes, honed by millions of years of predator-prey evolution. On a world where everything was dangerous, proved devastatingly effective. Tracy's soldiers moved like liquid lightning through the bioship's corridors, their weapons finding weak points in Kronach armor with precision that seemed impossible. The Silicon warriors were strong, and their natural armor was impressive, but they had never faced opponents who could function at full capacity in crushing gravity, poisonous atmospheres, and extreme temperatures. Every human soldier was essentially a walking weapon compared to the galaxy's more peaceful species. Neural cluster located, Tracy reported as her team reached the bioship's brain center. It's beautiful and horrible at the same time. The creature's central nervous system filled a chamber the size of a cathedral. Billions of organic processors working together to control the massive vessel. Tracy placed her charges with the care of a surgeon, targeting specific neural pathways that would shut down the bioship without causing it. It's unnecessary suffering. The explosion was precisely controlled, severing key connections that sent the creature into neural shock. The bioship went dark, its weapons systems failing as it drifted helplessly through space. Lieutenant Commander Stone monitored enemy communications as panic spread through the Kronach swarm. Their bioelectric signals were chaotic now, filled with confusion and fear as ships died around them without any visible enemy. They're trying to adapt their sensors, Rachel reported. Looking for new energy signatures, different attack patterns, but they have no idea what they're looking for. The battle raged for 6 hours, But it was never really a battle. It was an extermination. Human weapons struck from every direction, targeting bioships with mathematical precision. Fighter squadrons danced through enemy formations like ghosts, their pilots laughing with pure joy at the incredible performance of their craft. The assault teams cleared boarding tubes with ruthless efficiency, rescuing Zephrian civilians who stared at their human saviors with wonder and terror. These aliens had never seen beings who moved with such predatory grace, who seemed completely comfortable with violence that would traumatize most galactic species. When the last Kronach bioship died or fled, the space around Zephria Prime was filled with debris and the floating bodies of creatures that had consumed 12 worlds. The Zephrians emerged from their shelters to find their orbital stations damaged but intact, their world saved by forces they could not understand. Ambassador Veltar tried to contact the mysterious defenders, broadcasting messages of gratitude to empty space. But the human ships had already vanished, their stealth systems activated as they withdrew to safe distances. On the surface of Zephria Prime, 4 billion aliens looked up at their star-filled sky and wondered what manner of beings had emerged. From the darkness, to save them, they had been rescued by legends made real, by creatures from the deadly worlds that existed only in ancient stories. The galaxy would never be the same. The news traveled faster than light across the galaxy, carried by quantum communicators and hyperspace relay stations to every inhabited world. The impossible had happened. The Kronach swarm, the living plague that had consumed 12 civilizations, had been defeated at Zephria Prime by unknown forces. Dr. Kira Solak sat in the great library of Centauri Station, surrounded by alien scholars who spoke in hushed whispers about the mysterious saviors. Kira was officially a human anthropologist, studying galactic cultures, but her real mission was far more important. She was one of Earth's hidden observers, documenting how alien species reacted to events that humanity might have influenced. The Zephrians could only describe their rescuers as shadow beings who appeared from nowhere and vanished without seeking reward. Their weapons left no energy signatures that alien science could identify. Their ships moved in ways that defied known physics. Their soldiers fought with a skill and ferocity that seemed impossible for any civilized species. They came from the void itself. Ambassador Veltar had testified before the Galactic Council. Beings of darkness who knew only war, yet saved us from extinction without asking for anything in return. The story grew with each telling. Other species began sharing their own encounters with mysterious defenders. A Keth research station attacked by raiders had been saved by invisible ships. A Varian colony threatened by space pirates found their enemies destroyed by weapons that struck from empty space. A Maltheri merchant convoy had watched ghost-like fighters destroy an entire bandit fleet in minutes. Professor Zektar, elderly, Altarian scholar, pulled up holographic displays showing the attack patterns at Zephria Prime. His 4 eyes studied the tactical data with the intensity of someone trying to solve an impossible puzzle. "Look at these movement vectors," he said to his research team. "No known species can perform maneuvers like these. The acceleration forces alone would kill any pilot we know of." Dr. Helix, a Keth physicist, highlighted the weapon signatures in the data. "These energy readings don't match anything in our databases. The projectile velocities are beyond what our materials science says is possible. Who could build weapons like these?" Kira listened to their discussions while pretending to study ancient texts about legendary warriors. The aliens were trying to understand something that their peaceful evolution had never prepared them for. They couldn't imagine a species that had learned warfare not as a choice, but as a requirement for survival. The Kronach survivors had fled to the galactic rim, but they were not idle. Their hive-mind intelligence was analyzing every piece of data. From the battle, trying to understand what had destroyed their swarm, the bioships that escaped carried recordings of weapons that seemed to violate the laws of physics, of soldiers who moved like liquid death through their corridors. In the deep void between galaxies, the Chrono collective mind reached a disturbing conclusion. Their attackers had not been another galactic species seeking territory or resources. They had been something else entirely. something that existed outside the normal patterns of civilized warfare. The ancient archives spoke of such beings, legends, passed down from the first species to achieve spaceflight, told stories of warriors from the Deathworlds, planets so hostile that they forged their inhabitants into living weapons. Most intelligent species dismissed these tales as primitive mythology, but the Kronach had seen the evidence with their own sensors. Captain Jake Morrison monitored the growing legends from his position aboard the New Horizons. His research vessel continued its official mission of studying solar phenomena, but Jake spent most of his time tracking how galactic society was reacting to humanity's intervention. "They're calling us the Deathworld Ghosts," reported Lieutenant Amy Patterson as she decoded the latest alien communications. "Some species think we're myths come to life. Others believe we're ancient guardians who only appear when civilization faces extinction." Dr. Ben Rodriguez had been analyzing biological samples from the battlefield, studying how different alien species reacted to the concept of true Deathworlders. "Most of them can't even comprehend the idea," he said. "They live on garden worlds where the biggest threat is bad weather. The concept of a planet that actively tries to kill its inhabitants is literally beyond their imagination." The peaceful nature of galactic civilization was both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness. Species that had evolved without serious predators, on worlds with stable climates and abundant resources, had developed cultures based on cooperation and mutual aid. War, when it occurred, was a careful, limited affair with rules and protocols designed to minimize casualties. They had never encountered anything like humanity. Admiral Lisa Carter received regular reports from Dr. Solak and other human observers scattered throughout the galaxy. The aliens were creating their own explanations for what they had witnessed, building legends that would serve humanity's purposes perfectly. "They're doing our work for us," Lisa told her staff during a secure briefing at Luna Base. "By remaining hidden, we've become something much more powerful than just another spacefaring species. We've become a galactic legend." Commander Ryan Walsh displayed intelligence reports showing how different alien governments were reacting to the news. The peaceful species are relieved that something can stop threats like the Kronach. The more aggressive ones are worried about these mysterious defenders appearing in their territory. Colonel Nina Brooks had been studying combat recordings from Major Lee's assault teams. "Our soldiers performed exactly as predicted," she reported. "Human reflexes, endurance, and adaptability gave them overwhelming advantages against the Kronach warriors. But it's not just our physical capabilities, it's our mindset." The recordings showed human soldiers moving through hostile environments with casual efficiency, treating lethal conditions as minor inconveniences. They fought with a psychological resilience that the hive mind found incomprehensible. Continuing to function at full capacity even when injured or under extreme stress, General Sam Hunter raised concerns about long-term implications. "The Kronach are regrouping," he warned. "They're studying our tactics, trying to adapt their bioships to counter our weapons. This won't stay secret forever." Director Kate Nelson had been coordinating with Earth's governments about humanity's changing role. "In galactic affairs, the civilian leadership is nervous," she admitted. "We've crossed a line from observation to intervention. There's no going back to pure secrecy now." But the galaxy was already changing around them. Species that had lived in fear of the Kronach were beginning to explore again, confident that mysterious protectors watched over them. Trade routes that had been abandoned were reopening. Colonies that had been evacuated were being resettled. Dr. Kira Solak watched these changes from her position in the Great Library, documenting how the mere belief in powerful guardians was transforming galactic civilization. The aliens didn't need to see humanity to benefit from knowing that someone was watching over them. "They're becoming braver," she reported to Luna Base. "The knowledge that Deathworld defenders exist is giving them courage they never had before. They're starting to push back against smaller threats, inspired by the example of beings they think are mythical." The irony was not lost on humanity's leadership. By remaining hidden, they had achieved something that open contact never could have accomplished. They'd become the galaxy's conscience, the shadowy force that emerged when innocent species faced extinction. But in the deep void, The Kronach collective was preparing for their next assault. They had learned from their defeat, adapted their bioships, developed new strategies for fighting an enemy that didn't exist, according to galactic databases. The next time they struck, it would be ready for the Deathworld ghosts. The question was whether the legends would be enough to save the galaxy when the real test came. The second Kronach invasion began without warning, but this time, everything was different. Their bioships had evolved new sensory organs that could detect previously invisible energy signatures. Their warriors had been genetically modified to fight in multiple atmospheric conditions. Hivemind had learned from its defeat and adapted accordingly. Commander Alex Thompson watched the approaching swarm from the bridge of the Ghostwalker, his heart sinking as enemy sensors locked onto his previously invisible ship. The element of surprise was gone. The Kronach could see them coming. "They've adapted faster than we predicted," reported Lieutenant Commander Rachel Stone from her electronic warfare station.
Oh.
"Their new biosensors are tracking our stealth signatures like searchlights. Might as well be flying with our running lights on." The target this time was the Zephrian system, home to 3 billion peaceful beings who had never developed weapons more advanced than crowd control devices. The Kronach had chosen their target carefully, striking at a world that could not defend itself, while forcing the mysterious defenders to reveal themselves. "Captain." Dan Wright's fighter squadron found themselves under attack before they could reach their targets.
How?
The Kronach had developed new bioships specifically designed for intercepting small craft. Fast predators that could match human pilots for speed and agility. "These things are nothing like the ones we fought before," Wright reported as his fighter rolled through evasive maneuvers. "They're learning our tactics, copying our movements." Major Tracy Lee's assault teams discovered that the Kronach warriors they faced were no longer the slow, methodical creatures from their first encounter. These new soldiers moved faster, hit harder, and seemed designed specifically to counter human advantages. Admiral Lisa Carter made the decision that would change galactic history forever. Standing in the command center of Luna Base, she activated emergency protocols that had been prepared for exactly this situation. "All Shadow Fleet units, this is command," she announced on all channels. "Authorization Omega Prime. Full revelation protocol is now in effect." Across human space, massive shipyards hidden in asteroid belts and gas giant atmospheres began launching vessels that dwarfed anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dreadnoughts the size of small moons emerged from concealment, their hulls bristling with weapons that no other species had ever imagined. The alien observers scattered throughout the galaxy watched in shock as humanity's true military might revealed itself. Ships appeared from seemingly empty space, not dozens or hundreds, but thousands. Battle fleets that had been hidden for decades activated their systems and began moving toward the Zephrian. System Captain Susan Blake stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Iron Storm, watching her crew prepare for open warfare. 200 humans worked with mechanical precision, their movements coordinated by millions of years of pack hunting evolution. They didn't just operate their ship, they made it an extension of their collective will. "All stations report ready," announced her executive officer, Commander Paul Davis. "Weapons charged, shields up, crew at battle stations." Susan nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. This was the moment when humanity stepped out of the shadows forever. "Take us to the Zephrian system," she ordered. "Maximum speed." Iron Storm accelerated to velocities that would have crushed any known alien crew. Human occupants barely noticing forces that would have been lethal to most galactic species. Around them, dozens of other human warships matched their acceleration, the entire battle group moving like a single organism in the Zephrian system. The battle was not going well for the defending forces. Commander Thompson's ships were fighting a desperate holding action against Kronach bioships that could now track their every movement. Human casualties were mounting as the enemy's adaptations proved effective. "We need reinforcements," Alex reported to Admiral Carter. "My battle group can't hold them much longer. They know all our tricks now." That was when the main human fleet arrived. The Kronach hive mind recoiled in shock as massive human dreadnoughts materialized from hyperspace. These were not the small, stealthy ships they had been fighting. These were warships the size of cities, designed by a species that understood warfare on a scale the galaxy had never imagined. Ambassador Veltar, monitoring the battle from his position on Zephria Prime, watched his sensor displays with growing amazement. The mysterious defenders were revealing themselves at last, and they were nothing like what anyone had expected. By the eternal winds, he whispered to his aide, "Look at the size of those ships. How many beings must crew such vessels?" Human fleet moved into battle formation with military precision that left alien observers speechless. Every ship knew its role. Every captain understood the battle plan without needing detailed orders. This was not a collection of individual vessels. It was a coordinated force operating as a single entity. Captain Blake led her squadron directly into the heart of the Kronach formation, her crew fighting their ship with a skill that seemed supernatural to watching aliens. The Iron Storm twisted through enemy fire with impossible grace, its weapons finding weak points in bioship armor with mathematical precision. Colonel Nina Brooks had arrived with the main fleet, leading an assault force of 5,000 human Marines. They hit the Kronach bioships like a plague of destruction, cutting through organic holes, fighting through corridors filled with hostile atmosphere. The silicon-based Kronach warriors discovered that their genetic modifications were useless against opponents who had evolved on a world where adaptation was a matter of survival. Human soldiers moved through toxic environments without protection, fought with injuries that would have killed most species, and displayed a psychological resilience that the hive mind could not comprehend. Neural Cluster Breach reported Sergeant Tony Clark as his team reached the center of a massive bioship. These things are even bigger on the inside than they look from outside. The battle raged across 3 star systems as Kronach reinforcements arrived to face the human fleet. Bioships the size of asteroids clashed with human dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything the galaxy had ever built. The space between worlds became a graveyard of organic debris and twisted metal, but the outcome was never really in doubt. It had evolved to consume peaceful civilizations that could not fight back effectively. They had never faced a species that treated warfare as a natural part of existence, that had spent millions of years learning to kill efficiently. When the last Kronach bioship fell silent or fled into deep space, the human fleet found itself surrounded by alien vessels that had come to witness the impossible. Ships from dozens of species had arrived to watch the battle, their crews staring in wonder at the mysterious defenders who had finally revealed themselves. Admiral Carter authorized the next phase of the operation. Captain Jake Morrison's research vessel, the New Horizons, approached the largest gathering of alien ships and broadcast a message that would be remembered throughout galactic history. "Greetings," Jake said, his words translated by systems that had been monitoring alien languages for decades. "We are humans from a world called Earth. We have been watching your civilizations with great interest. We apologize for remaining hidden for so long." The response was chaos. Alien captains argued with their crews. Species representatives demanded explanations. And philosophers tried to understand how an entire civilization had remained secret for so long. Ambassador Veltar was the first to respond, his voice carrying across space with formal dignity. "We welcome you, humans of Earth. You have saved countless lives and protected innocent worlds. Why did you remain hidden?" Right. Jake chose his words carefully. "Because we are different. From you, we come from a world that your people would call a death world, a place so dangerous that it shaped us into something the galaxy had never seen before. We wanted to understand your civilizations before revealing ourselves." The truth sent shockwaves. Through galactic society, the legendary Deathworlders were real. They were humans, and they had been protecting the galaxy from the shadows for decades. Dr. Kira Solak, still maintaining her cover as an anthropologist, watched alien reactions. With fascination, some species were grateful, others were frightened, and a few were angry about the deception. But all of them understood that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. Humanity was no longer hiding in the shadows. They had become the galaxy's protectors, the apex predators who emerged from the darkness when extinction threatened the innocent. and the universe would never be the same again.